Radio.
Hello and welcome to Think Theory Radio, the show that brings you topics outside the mainstream realm of thought and ideas to make you think. And I'm your host, Damian Perdue, your Irish guide on this interesting ride of radio delights. And of course, I'm joined by Paulie C.
Yo. Top of the morning to you.
Slancha. Or cilantro, is like
Cilantro.
I like on my tacos.
But on your Irish taco?
Yeah, and there's a connection there.
Why is that?
Because we will get into the true legend of Zorro, who was an Irishman that lived in Mexico.
Huh.
But
You're not going to talk about that?
not yet.
You're going to leave me hanging like that?
Yes. Because today we're doing a little interesting Irish people.
That's what we're doing. Weird Irish. No, yeah.
And tales of things.
Tales of Celtic
Tales
yore.
of Celtic yore. Actually, I wasn't even really planning on doing another St. Patrick's Day one because we've done a ton.
No, we know your Irish agenda here.
The greatest people to ever live. But I had two, persons of that I wanted to talk about early on. And then as I was getting into it, I'm like, well, I could actually just make these their own segments. So, what does quantum physics, or quantum mechanics, I should say, the legend of Zorro and Merlin have in common?
I have no idea.
Ireland.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And so the first one, this is one I read earlier this week or last week, and I thought it was pretty interesting that this Irish astronomer from the early 1800s came up with the key mathematical clue to uncovering quantum mechanics almost 100 years before Mr. Schrödinger.
Okay, that's the cat guy,
Evan,
right?
yes, and his fabulous cat in a box theory.
Terrible cat owner. Doesn't even know if he has it or not.
They say he was influenced by Dr. Seuss.
No kidding. Cat in the Hat. I was going to say,
I think he was before.
I could understand, though. I was just saying he was a bad cat owner because he didn't know if he had it or not, you know? And it was like, that's outdoor cats, though. You never know. Indoor, outdoor cats, you don't
True.
see. You're like, I'm a cat owner, and then they disappear for like 4 days, and you're like, I think I'm a cat owner. Maybe they moved
Well,
on.
and that's
I
the
don't
thing.
know.
See, you don't know.
Is it in the box or not in the box?
Is it an indoor or an outdoor cat? You
Can't
don't know.
find it because he left it in the box. Maybe. Or not.
Well, this man that predated Mr. Schrödinger and his cat was William Rowan Hamilton. Born in Dublin in 1805. He was the fourth of 9 children.
Of course.
That was a small number for Irish people.
I was
back
going to
then.
say, that's a core family right there. 9 children. My
Yeah.
goodness.
And already showing
Archibald Hamilton, his dad, William Rowan, only lived to be like 40?
Yeah.
He's like 41 years old. Mm-hmm. And he fathered 9 children.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And being that they had enough children, they sent young Hamilton off to live with his uncle at the age of 3. Like, yeah, we got 8. 8 is enough, man.
Yeah.
8 is enough.
Yeah. I wonder how many kids Uncle James had.
I don't know. He ran a school, so he had enough, students, and I guess he showed a lot of genius at an early age, and supposedly had an uncanny ability to acquire languages. Although there's been a little dispute at that maybe he just had a basic understanding of them.
Well, yeah. I mean, how many people are totally fluent in a language all the time? Because I
true.
feel like I'm learning a language, but I wouldn't be saying that I'm fluent in it.
Yeah.
But I feel like fluency is how much are you immersing yourself in it to begin with. And I feel like people that are fluent in multiple languages, it's like, well, if you're not using it all the time, you will lose some element of it. So it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. When people are like, oh, I'm fluent in like 5 languages, it's like, can you be?
Yeah, I don't know if your brain can do it. I'm sure there's some.
I mean, I'm sure there's some people that can
insanely
do it, you know? But that's got to be on a different level, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, probably like a survival based for their business or career or whatever, or getting through things. You know, like
Well, most people in Europe know like 3 or 4 languages.
Yeah, but I mean, could they work their way in a conversation where, like, yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
go do this podcast in my third language?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
maybe Europeans can call in and tell us.
yeah, right. You American dopes. Yes, of course people can learn multiple. But that's what I'm saying. 'Cause I feel like I can casually speak about 4 different languages,
Yeah.
but it's like I can't go far in 3 of them.
Right. Well, and he knew, Hebrew. He was reading Hebrew, Persian, Arabic, Hindustani, Sanskrit,
See, and that's
Malay,
a unique collection
and all the
for
European ones.
someone that's from Ireland and
Spanish,
they know
Italian.
Persian and Arabic.
Well, he was a
That's-
very smart dude, and not only was he insanely smart and a genius, and helped bring about quantum mechanics, he also was a graffiti artist, man.
What?
Not really, but he did another amazing thing that he
An
did.
Irish graffiti artist involved in quantum mechanics,
Uh-huh.
and you, when did you learn about this man?
I know, just fairly recently.
What?
Yeah, the algorithms sent me an article on him, and
You're like, how did
was
I?
like, wow,
how did
this
I
is
not
a-
know about this guy?
although he wasn't really a graffiti artist, I'm stretching the.
I know,
the
I
truth,
know,
yeah.
but it's still it's just all this stuff coming at you.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is that he came up with this equation that essentially broke the rules of math. He had this genius strike, a eureka moment, as they say, and he carved it on the side of a bridge.
Okay.
He graffitoed it. You know, this
Okay.
criminal
Yeah.
act.
Yeah, yeah.
Vandal, the vandal.
Vandaled it with algebra. Is that what you're saying, or
Yeah.
with a formula or something
Yeah.
like that, or a equation?
He was walking with his wife along the Royal Canal in Dublin, and he as he reached what was used to be called the Brougham Bridge, was now the Broom Bridge.
Yeah.
In a sudden flash of insight, he realized he didn't need 3 dimensions to do his mathematical problems. He needed 4. The 4th dimension was the key. And he pulled out his penknife and carved the fundamental formula for quaternions into the stone of the bridge, which is I squared equals J squared equals K squared equals IJK equals -1. Come on, we all know that one.
All right, no. Now, to be fair, in Mr. Hamilton's defense, I would say that he's probably like the 1820s or something, 1830s, or he's a young man, you know.
Yeah.
And he comes up with this eureka moment of, wow, this might change the face of my field of study. I need to write this down.
Yes.
It wasn't like Bic was producing pens in Ireland, you know, and
Right,
paper was
right.
readily available for
No.
them. Like, I know it's not stone tablet times either, but apparently it was, Mr. Hamilton. You know, if you got to write it down, you got to write it down, you know?
And then he says, he was so afraid that he would forget it, that he had, or the specific relationships of it, that he had to write it down.
So I would love to hear that. Oh, here we go. You're going to tell me what happened to that graffiti. Like, I would feel like if I was the mayor of that town and some genius defaced my bridge with like a groundbreaking equation, I'd be like, hey, yo, let's make sure we take care of
Yeah.
that so, you know, generations can see this crazy smart artwork.
Well, and also the thing is so it wasn't just adding new numbers, like I said earlier, that supposedly, broke the rules of math. Because before him, everyone assumed multiplication was a commutative, meaning 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. But what quaternions, the order matters.
Ah, man. So I got to thank this guy for with the foil or the Pedmus or whatever back in the day. No, it technically matters. No, it doesn't. Well, I guess it does. Okay.
Yep. And
Okay.
that paved the way for modern physics and the Hamiltonian mechanics, which is leading to the his breakthrough into quantum mechanics before it was even a thing, which was essentially he figured out the connection between light and solid objects, right? So before him, people treated light and solid objects as 2 completely different universes.
Okay.
Optics followed Fermat's principle, which is light takes the path that minimizes travel time. Mechanics followed Newton's law. Objects move faster, or moves because force pushes them. And his aha moment was realizing they could describe the motion of a planet or a cannonball using the same exact math used for a ray of light. He showed that particles don't just move, they follow a path that minimizes a value called action. which is interesting because, in Europe, they call graffiti action. Like, we're going to do some action.
Are you messing with me, or is that
No, that is true.
Okay.
And then the wave particle hint was he noticed the equations describing a ray of light traveling through lenses were mathematically identical to a particle moving through a force field. He essentially proved that classical mechanics is just a special case of wave mathematics. He didn't claim matter was a wave, but he showed that if you treated a particle like a wave with a very short wavelength, the math worked out perfectly. And that became the Hamiltonian. So instead of looking at forces, he focused on total energy. He created a function, which is now called Hamiltonian, which represents the sum of kinetic energy and potential energy. And how this led to quantum mechanics is you fast forward to our cat friend, Mr. Schrödinger, Irvin.
Who's very much not Irish, I would imagine.
Actually, he was half Irish.
Schrödinger?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he was half Irish and half.
Maybe it's the dinger part.
Sweet. It was, yeah. I was going to say it was Schrödinger.
Oh, Schrödinger, yeah.
And Mr. Schrödinger was trying to figure out how electrons behave inside an atom. He looked back at Hamilton's work and thought, Hamilton showed that particles move like waves in a limit. What if I just treat the electron as an actual wave and use Hamilton's energy math? He took the classical Hamiltonian, swapped out the variables for operators. This led to the most famous equation in quantum chemistry, or the Schrödinger equation. So, and this was
no musicals written about that one, huh?
not that I know of. Maybe in old Ireland they did.
Right. Yes.
But yeah, this,
Curse that Lin-Manuel Miranda for taking her idea.
And for those wondering, why is this important? I do have some information on why. Because what it ends up in things that we use today, the quaternions are the most efficient way to calculate 3D rotations without gimbal lock.
Oh yeah, you gotta have it without gimbal lock. What?
Yeah, that's where axes align and freeze up, and they're used in video games. So every time a character turns or a camera rotates in a 3D game like Call of Duty or Elden Ring, the engine is running Hamilton's bridge math. And in aerospace, a spacecraft, including the Apollo moon missions and the ISS, use quaternions for navigation. And CGI. Pixar and Marvel movies use them to animate fluid movements.
Okay.
There you go.
And that makes sense with the video games. Ever since everything went like 3-dimensional.
Yeah. And you were
I imagine
asking...
this doesn't matter for like a 2D side scroller back in the day, like Mario, that sort of thing.
Not that I know of.
Yeah, this is more for your like.
Yeah, the more
once things got 3-dimensional.
complex,
Yeah.
Because that's how far ahead of his time he was, man.
That's crazy.
And you were wondering about if the graffiti is still there, but unfortunately it's not. It has long since withered away.
Just thinking
There
like,
is a stone plaque there.
back in like 1840, this dude's like, all right, could someone invent a Nintendo finally?
Right.
Even though technically I think Nintendo existed in 1840. They were like a toy company.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. I think even before. Like 18. Yeah, right around that time. It's an insanely old company. I forgot about that.
A long bridge built between those two people.
And speaking of a bridge, every year on October 16th, mathematicians from around the world participate in the Hamilton Walk from Dunsink Observatory to Broome Bridge. And but there's a stone plaque
the
there.
walk from his home or something.
I think that's the walk he was doing with his wife.
Oh, I got
when the aha moments occurred to him.
Do they all deface trees while they do that, or bridges while they do it?
Yes,
we just watched that.
I was actually there on a similar day, which is June 16th or 14th. I can't remember exactly, but it's James Joyce Day.
Yeah.
Where they reenact all the different scenes from the book Ulysses. And I just happened to be there that day. And I painted some graffiti. See, it all ties together, man.
Yeah.
With my buddy John O'Reilly. Jor, old school graffiti right there. And fan of the show, might add. Got to give him a little shout out. And we painted earlier that day. And then he was like, yeah, it's James Joyce Day. Let's go over to, I wish I could remember the name of the bar, but it's a bar from the book. And there were all these people dressed up in that era. The early 1900s. And James Joyce also ties into science fiction. We were talking about in his book Finnegan's Wake. He describes kind of like TVs and futuristic type of technology in that book, and that was written in I think 1920 something or whatever, or 1930. I can't remember, but so yeah, see, it all ties together, man. Science fiction, the Irish, quantum mechanics, graffiti. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we will come back with The Legend of Zorro. Was he an Irishman? Is it true? Are the tales of a swashbuckling noble swordsman and a little bit of Robin Hood in them, too? So we'll come to that after this break on Think Theory Radio.
She was born on the south side of Chicago, the daughter of a teacher and Navy veteran. Now she's running for U.S. Senate to fight for us, Juliana Stratton. As lieutenant governor, she fought with Governor Pritzker to get assault weapons off our streets. She raised our wages and delivered paid time off. And Juliana Stratton is endorsed by Governor Pritzker because she'll be a partner to him in Washington. In the Senate, Stratton will stand up to Donald Trump to defend our rights and lower our costs.
If there's ever been a time that we need fighters in Washington, it's right now. I will be that fighter. People are tired of the status quo, and they are looking for people who will meet this moment. I want to fight to give the people what they want.
Endorsed by Governor Pritzker, Juliana Stratton for Senate. Because you deserve a fighter. Paid for by Illinois Future PAC. IllinoisFuturePAC.com. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Illinois Future PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Ah, yes. Welcome back to Think Theory Radio.
Faith and Vigora.
Such a chipper Irish kind of leprechaun music you got playing there, Paul.
Yeah, I was looking for something cheery. I don't know. I didn't think he wanted something like all wistful and like, yeah.
Play some Enya.
Yeah.
I think she was Irish, right?
I don't think so, but I
No?
have no idea. I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I could look it up. There is the internet.
There is the internet, which has led me down many rabbit holes.
Isn't
Do
that
people
what it,
say
right?
still say surfing the internet, or is it just doom scrolling now? Is that
It's
it?
doom scrolling.
It's
No,
just
no one says,
taking over.
no, Grandpa, no one says surfing the
I
internet.
was
anymore.
surfing the
No,
internet.
okay, I guess that's not true because, like, they're, I just, that's an old school term,
Transurfing reality, though. What do you know about that
Because,
one?
like, I don't know, surfing the internet, right? Like,
Yeah.
that was, the internet was a new concept for people
Right.
like you and I. I can't imagine, like, people that were born into it.
Right.
Like, it's just a thing,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so it's not even surfing the internet. That's just life. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have to think about a life where, like, they don't have the internet to look up things.
Wait till it's all just implanted in their brain.
Oh. Sorry, I just recalled recently there was, like, I was a kid and, like, they gave us, like, I was, like, part of this, like, separate group or whatever in grade school, the challenge group or whatever. And it was, like, the smart kids. And they're like, all right, over the break, if you want to get some extra credit and prep yourself for the geography bee, here's, like, a packet. And, like, I had to, like, go to the library to look up everything,
Yeah.
like, what's the name of this stupid mountain? What's the name of, like, this, like, landmark or whatever, and
Yeah.
nowadays, it dawned on me the other day. I was like, in this day and age, all I could do is just sit at home and just, like, boom, 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 got it,
Yeah, I know. That's kind of like, I love and hate that you can look up places in the world and see it, visually just on your phone.
Yeah.
Like, even just down into the Google Earth or Maps or whatever.
Yeah.
And I love it, but at the same time, it's
Yeah,
like,
you mean that's what I call a vacation.
but then I don't want to see it because I don't want to see it in real life.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah.
But I know they have like some kind of like
It's
there's, like,
surreal when you finally go to somewhere that you've seen on Google Maps before and you're like, oh, there I am.
Yeah.
Like I'm here. Like,
Exactly. And I know they have some kind of like virtual reality, like Egypt tour thing going on here somewhere in the city or suburbs, some virtual reality center.
Oh, okay.
But it's like I kind of don't want to see it because I'd rather go there. I've never been to Egypt, seen the pyramids in real life, and I wouldn't want to do it in virtual reality unless I have to, right? Like we're banned from going anywhere. But
Not to do an aside here. How you feel if you went today to go to Egypt? Could you? Could you go? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's just like the state of the world's geopolitics. Like, it'd be
I
safe
don't
to
think-
travel there right now as an American.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, well, I'm assuming so, and I do know people that have gone out there recently.
Okay.
You know, and it depends where you're going. It's like anywhere, you know. But if
Make
you
it
go to
happen.
like
Go to Egypt, man.
yeah, because I mean, if you go to Cairo, it's like that's where the pyramids are, and they just built this huge museum that's like the biggest Egyptian museum ever built, like antiquities, and it's amazing looking. It's super modern. And
Yeah.
and people are going. I mean, they want people to come there to go there. It's a lot of money, you know.
I know you want to move on to this Zorro thing, but you brought up to Egypt. And for those of you playing at home, we always talk about ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
Okay, did you know that they're building a new capital? Have I talked about this?
No,
on the show?
I
They're
don't think
building
so.
a new capital, and they're calling it New Capital Egypt.
Really?
And like, yeah, they're like everything's going from Cairo over to this.
Huh.
Yeah, it's like I think like 30 miles or
They're
kilometers.
just calling
east.
it New Capital.
So far as I know, it's called New Capital Egypt. Yeah. I'll throw it up on here for you. You didn't know about this. Yeah, I just
No, I
learned
didn't
about
hear
this.
about
Yeah. Yeah. New administrative capital, NAC.
Huh. Oh, it's kind of like, I guess, like DC in a way. Like not
Yeah,
a
but it's
real kinda
like
name.
far from Cairo, though. It's like, I want to say like 30 miles to the east or something like that, or 30 kilometers.
Yeah, interesting.
The new capital, satellite city.
It's east of New Cairo.
Yeah. All right.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah. Now you know.
Now I know. Now to tie it into the Irishman that was Zorro, I don't know.
I have no idea.
Except, well,
yeah,
you know, Egypt was kind of close to Spain, and this guy ended up in Spain. That's it.
Well, I thought
So-
you were gonna be like, who was the person saying that the Egyptians couldn't build the pyramids on their own? It was the Romans or something.
right. It was the Irish,
Yeah.
you know? No, but so this one I found out another you know, lovely gift from the algorithms that sent me this article like last summer, and I remember reading it, not just the article, but the information that I gathered for it from an article, and I remember like, oh, I got to save this for like the next kind of like St. Patrick's Day or Irish thing that I talked about, and it's pretty cool. And I didn't even know Zorro was even based on.
I thought it was just some sort of fiction.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But it's actually, not only is it based on someone, it's based on an Irishman.
Okay, but did his name start with a Z, or was it like
No, so that's
painted like a giant O for like O'Malley
Yeah,
or something, or MC?
he didn't even have one of his name was very not Irish sounding to me, at least.
Okay.
William Lamport,
Okay.
but known in Mexico as Don Guillen de Lamport or Lombardo
Okay.
y Guzman.
Okay.
And he was a 17th century Irishman from Wexford, right?
Okay, but how did he end up in Mexico?
So we will get to that in a bit of a second.
Jumping ahead here.
You know, because I want to get to originally when he was young. So this guy it's actually like, at least from what I gathered, of course, you never know with, you know, history if it's been changed up or what, you know, and glorified, but he's kind of like a really cool rebel, and the things that he tried to accomplish in Mexico are really admirable, but he was also really like a swashbuckling pirate.
Okay.
And it started off, so he was born in Wexford to a family of Catholic Old English merchants, and at 13 he was arrested in London for distributing Catholic pamphlets, which at the time, that was high treason back
Oh my
then.
gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Church of England. Yeah.
And you weren't even allowed to teach Catholics to read back then.
What?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah. And he escaped from London and tried to flee to France, but his ship was intercepted by pirates near St. Malo. And instead of being killed, the sharp-witted Lamport joined the crew. He spent the next 2 years as a corsair, learning how to fight, sail, and navigate the treacherous Atlantic. And at the siege of La Rochelle Rochelle, from Milan to Minsk. No. During this time, he fought as a mercenary for the French against the English Navy. And then he eventually convinced his entire pirate crew to convert to Catholicism and sail with him to Spain, where he landed the crew and ship over to the Spanish crown in exchange for a pardon and a job. That was a little bogus there, but hey, you know. By the age of 21, he was a captain in the Spanish army, a master swordsman, and spoke 14 languages. Another guy with a million languages. Irish, they can speak a lot of languages, man.
But probably conversational to get you through swashbuckling on the high seas, right? Like, I mean, it's not like he's going into like Portugal and just having like a deep like.
You never know, man. I mean, but this, the swashbuckling scholar, right? And that's kind of what, the character Zorro was portrayed in the, like this.
I never actually knew the whole thing about Zorro except for like he had a sword and did like a Z everywhere.
Yeah, and I'll get to like the Z thing in a second. But I wanted to move on a little bit to where he ends up. How did he end up in Mexico, you asked, right? If I didn't say it before, he was born in 1611.
Yeah, that's way older than I thought. But
yeah.
Okay.
And so once he got to, he got to Spain and, reinvented himself, he claimed to be the bastard son of King Philip IV of Spain. This gave him a noble cover that allowed him to move through high society while secretly plotting to overthrow the colonial government.
I suppose back in that day, you could get away with it a little bit easier. I mean, you have some like fancy clothing. It's like no one can fact check.
Exactly. You can't really do any background checks. Or
by the time someone comes back, it's like 3 years later. Like, yeah, that guy's full of it. It's like, I just left town.
Right.
3 weeks ago. You could have told me sooner.
Exactly. And that's why, he was like the noble by day, a rebel by night, which was the Zorro thing, a Robin Hoodish kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. He was a champion of the oppressed. So he believed in, he wrote a proclamation of independence for Mexico nearly 200 years before the actual revolution happened. He sought to abolish slavery and restore land rights to the indigenous population and the oppressed mestizos. And he used a network of spies and underground supporters like Zorro's Fox network, right?
Okay, now I'm going to play devil's advocate here, though. You're telling me that this guy claimed to be like the bastard son of a Spanish king. Yeah. The Spanish had rule over Mexico, and this guy's living in Mexico being like, oh, yeah, you guys should totally have independence. Like, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, he wouldn't be in there, like being like, you know what? I mean, my illegitimate father really does have some good things to say. I don't think you guys should have your, so I'm just saying, like faking his way into high society and then being like, yeah, I'm a Mexican nationalist. You gotta go with me, man.
Well, I mean, that's probably shows how he, he was probably a rebel from the very beginning.
Yeah.
He infiltrated high society just to take them down,
That's true. Like, Spain has no right on you people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, too, coming from Ireland and, growing up oppressed by the English, he went to Mexico and was like, man, they're doing the same thing to these people here.
Yeah.
I'm going to fight for these guys,
Yeah.
And he really was all about, like, equal rights for everyone. He wanted to abolish the whole, like, bloodline hierarchy type rule, and he wanted to create a voting type system where people got into office based on their merits.
So he was going to be like the original democracy in North America.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. 200 years before the Mexican Revolution, which is wild. And he wrote it's a very thorough.
Like 150 years at least before the United States was even formed.
Yeah. And I mean, in his proclamation, which the document's called the Proclamation of the Rebellion of the Kingdoms of New Spain, he wrote it around 1642. He wanted to abolish slavery. Right. And this was 221 years before the Emancipation Proclamation in the United States.
Yeah.
He wanted to restore indigenous sovereignty. Supposedly they say he wanted to be king. Right. But he, in his, proclamation, he was advocating more for like a kind of voting type system.
Yeah.
He argued the Spanish conquest of Mexico was illegal under international law because the indigenous people had never given their consent to be ruled. He proposed returning land to the native populations. He planned to integrate indigenous leaders into the new government. He wanted to overthrow the casta system, the caste system, and make it so that mestizos, criollos, and Indians were, or indigenous people were all equal citizens, and high offices, like I said, were awarded by merit. He claimed to be the rightful king because he was the bastard son of. That's how he.
Yeah.
But his proclamation included a surprising twist. He wanted to be elected by the people. So
so that no one could be like, hey, you can't just be king because you say something. Well, I was elected.
Well, supposedly, what I also read was that what he wanted to do was become king in order to get rid of it.
Yeah, I gotcha.
You know what I mean? So it's like, because he knew no one else would, give up their power. So he's like, well, I'll get in as the bastard son of
it's
King
like a
Philip.
regime changer.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, I'm just like sullying this guy's entire reputation. See, that's how you twist. That's how you twist historical fact.
True.
Change the perspective.
There's also, where's the other part? Oh, and then he had like his, his secret identity, just like Don Diego de la Vega or Zorro. He was the man of high status and education. And there was, I'm trying to find the, here we go. So you're talking about the Z, right? Mm-hmm. So there's two things about the Z. So he didn't carve a Z into people's chests and, and do all that kind of stuff. But there was the Great Escape. He's also an escape artist. He escaped from prison. That was pretty cool. In 1650, he escaped from an Inquisition prison. Instead of fleeing the city, he spent the night plastering the walls of the city with posters mocking the Inquisitors and the Viceroy.
Oh, man.
So he was a graffiti artist too?
It's like Banksy.
Right. And he had a signature, which was he had a habit of leaving marks or letters behind to let the authorities know exactly who had outsmarted them. The direct link between...
So he's like a Batman villain, too.
The direct link between Lamport and Zorro comes through the 19th century Mexican novelist Vicente Riva Palacio. He wrote a popular historical novel called Memorias de un Impostor, based on Lamport's life. And when Johnston McCulley sat down to write The Curse of the Capistrano, which is the first Zorro story, in 1919, he drew heavily from the tropes established in Riva Palacio's account of Lamport, with the Spanish colonial setting, the effete nobleman who was secretly a master swordsman, and the struggle against corrupt religious-backed regime. Now, there is another part of the Z thing, which basically, in 1872, the retired Mexican general wrote the historical romance in the style of Dumas's Three Musketeers, which is the one we just talked about, and his hero was called Guillén Lombardo. The narrative followed Lamport's exploits closely down to the use of chunks of evidence he gave at his many encounters with the Inquisition. The author was a Freemason.
I don't have it anymore.
Used the letter Z to symbolize the divine spark in the human. And when in 1919, Mr. McCulley reworked it, he gave the character a new name. Zorro was born. So it was originally the Z was written in the memoirs book because the guy was a Freemason and he wanted to put in some occult symbology.
Freemasons around the country. Do it for myself.
And there's actually there's a roundabout in downtown Mexico City, and there's a massive victory column known as the Angel, and that marks the country's famous monument to independence. Just inside the entrance is a statue of William Lamport. And they have him looking all dreamy and quizzical, look kind of like Don Quixote. But so he was... there was some more, too. His ultimate fate. Dun, 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 dun. So he didn't have the Hollywood ending, unfortunately. He was eventually recaptured by the Inquisition and sentenced to be burned at the stake in 1659.
I don't know. Isn't that kind of the Hollywood ending in a way, though? It's not always a happy ending.
True. That is burned at the stake is...
wasn't that like kind of like the Braveheart, the misconception of William Wallace? Wasn't he like torn to bits in Hollywood?
Well, and so the William Wallace story too, that was the whole... There was the William Wallace they showed in Braveheart was really Robert the Bruce.
Yeah.
But they showed
even that,
Robert
I think
the Bruce
they
as kind of a punk.
Kind of changed it to like a whole that's not even like the real story anyway.
No,
like,
no. I forget what the real story of William Wallace, but the movie Braveheart is really about Robert the Bruce, because that was Robert the Bruce's nickname was Braveheart.
Yeah.
And that supposedly was because they
took liberties with his life too. Though.
Yeah, well,
That's
they
what
made
I'm
him
saying.
like kind of like a punk in the movie,
Yeah,
you know.
but I'm saying with
he
like
didn't
even the
rebel until
story,
the
like
end.
the truth of Braveheart, like they
Yeah.
took liberties with a lot of
I'm
that.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, you know why he's called Braveheart, though.
No.
So supposedly he went into battle. You know, he went. I think it was against the English. I
Okay.
could have been Spanish, but I'm not exactly
I'm sure the Irish are loving the fact that we're derailing this with Scottish talk right now.
Hey, it's all Celtic.
Yeah. Yeah, you tell them that.
They're a little related. They're fine. But no, and we're gonna get into another like kind of a Scottish tie-in too. See, we talked a lot about Irish. You know, it's the Celtic realm. But no, but he went into battle, right? But he, you know, and that's why Robert the Bruce was so like revered, because he was actual, you know, nobleman that would fight. And when they killed him, they removed his heart. And they like threw it. They, you know, so the English or whoever it was he was fighting went back to his castle, and they threw his heart like in front of the castle to show that they killed him. And like that heart became like I think they used
Crawled
it or
up the
something.
castle walls and slayed everyone inside. Wow,
And it
that's
just
amazing.
regrew his
Yeah.
body. And
Yeah.
it's like Jesus came
I'm
back from
back.
the dead.
It's Robert the Bruce. All right, sorry. But wait, so they just like showed the king, check out this heart, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they did something with the heart that I can't fully remember, but that's why they called him Braveheart, because
Gotcha. All right, back
his
to
heart
Ireland.
lived on.
Back to
But-
Ireland.
So,
Wow.
well, back to the quick ending of Mr. Lamport, or the original Zorro. In one final act of defiance, he reportedly strangled himself with the iron collar at the stake before the fire could reach him, cheating the Inquisition of their spectacle one last time. So I thought that was pretty cool. Even in his final breath of life, he was still a rebel. The original Zorro, Mr. William Lamport. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we will go from one legendary figure to another legendary myth on Think Theory Radio right after this.
Chicago. On March 17th, we choose our next voice in Congress. LaShawn Ford's record, disqualifying. LaShawn Ford was indicted and convicted by President Obama's Justice Department for tax fraud. And that's just the start. While we were struggling, LaShawn Ford was getting rich in real estate, ripping off working people and evicting families in need. Then Ford voted to raise our taxes by 32%, one of the biggest tax hikes in Illinois history. All while skipping out on paying his own taxes and voting to give himself multiple raises. LaShawn Ford sticks us with higher taxes while he gets a deal. We can't afford another self-dealing career politician in office. LaShawn Ford is not who we need in Congress. Paid for by Fair Shake and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Fair Shake is responsible for the content of this advertising. www.fairShakePack.com.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
I'm not gonna lie, doesn't this sound like something you hear in like some cornball gift shop?
Yeah, definitely. It's like
Like I can just
Irish
smell. I can
elevator
smell
music.
this song.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That like gift shop smell. You know?
the
I don't know.
Pete.
Yeah, the Pete. Hey, the Pete. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I feel you. It's got
Ragging
like
on
that
this free
kind
music.
of like potpourri.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. All right. Anyway, that's not what this show's about.
No, maybe
Is it?
it's a potpourri of thoughts and ideas, because this is Think Theory Radio, man.
Aromatherapy today?
I mean,
don't know.
today is kind of a potpourri of like interesting people, right? Or
Yeah.
interesting Irish.
Yeah.
Although this last character,
Well, it was an interesting
it's
Irish Mexican in
disputable
the
if it's
last
Irish or
one.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one, it's kind of a stretch, I'm not going to lie. But there is ties to Ireland, and it's possible that he was based on an Irish myth, although it seems to be he was probably based on numerous, an amalgam, if you will, of different people. And this is the most famous wizard of all time, before Dumbledore, before Gandalf.
Oh, and I'm out of them.
There was Merlin.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking Jordan came back and played for a little bit with the Wizards, but
that's true. And he was a basketball wizard.
That's probably the most famous wizard I know. But...
I always thought that was interesting because he was kind of like a basketball wizard, and then he ended his career as a wizard.
Yeah. Do you think he did that on purpose?
Knowing him, it might have been, because he was very
kind of really
occultish and
all
about
the
his
branding.
numbers.
Knew how to brand himself.
Yeah.
So
well, don't get me started about the numerology of Michael Jordan.
Oh no.
Because 23.
Yeah.
Okay. He won 3.
We're not doing this. I know you're wearing a Bulls shirt.
He won 3
Yeah.
championships twice. 2, 3. Right.
Yep.
Then he went 4, 5.
Yep. He wore.
Right?
Yeah.
4 plus 5 is 9, which is the magical number of the universe. Right.
Yeah. It's like the gematria thing. I've already dealt with this before. I'm not doing this.
There's a whole bunch of it if you go down it, because it's the year he was born, because I think he was born in 66.
63, I want to say.
I thought it was 66.
Maybe 66. That makes sense.
So
that makes sense.
6
66.
championships.
Yeah, because he came out of college. No, he was at 63. He was born in 63.
Okay.
Yeah. Who cares?
I know. Anyway, from that wizard to the Merlin wizard. Was he actually based on a real person? I know people are like, what? Merlin wasn't real.
Yeah. Well, didn't we already go over the Holy Grail was real, right?
Yeah.
Have we talked about the Round Table and the Knights and King Arthur?
Not yet, but that could be a whole other thing, because there's theories that's based on the Scythians.
So I feel like we, for this side quest on Think Theory Radio, we do need to talk about Merlin. This has to happen.
Well, we could talk about science. Mm-hmm. Why not talk about magic?
Yeah.
Start the show with science, end the show with magic.
Well, and then a little bit of fantasy. Yeah, a little fantasy and some stories in the middle.
Yeah.
Whatever, we're taking you there.
And so it appears that there's a lot of different influences of real, supposedly real people in the character of Merlin. And the original character, so Gregory of Monmouth. It's like Worcestershire. Anyway.
Don't hurt yourself.
The character of Merlin, as we know him, was largely invented by this 12th century cleric. He first appeared in Prophete Merlini
okay.
in 1130 CE, and later in Historia Regum Britannia. And the name Merlin or Merlinus is a Latinized version of the Welsh name Myrddin. It is this is where it gets kind of funny. It's suggested Joffrey changed the D to an I to avoid the name sounding too much like the French word merde, which, if you know what that means, you know that I just swore on the air, but we won't bring attention to that because it's not relevant.
Don't let the French FCC get you. Yeah. Somewhere in Montreal, someone's hearing this by accident, being like,
oh, man.
In which, if you're listening in Quebec, hello. Bonjour.
So, Myrddin Willet, or Willet, Myrddin the Wild, basically, was a 6th century figure who allegedly went mad after the Battle of Arfderid in 573 CE, and fled into the Caledonian forest. He gained the gift of prophecy while living as a wild man. And then another person was Ambrosius Aurelianus, a 5th century Romano-British war leader. Geoffrey of Monmouth plagiarized stories originally attributed to Ambrosius, such as the discovery of 2 fighting dragons under King Vortigern's tower. King Vortigern.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that just sounds like they even used the same king's name in a story and reassigned them to Merlin. Taliesin was a famous 6th century bard and druid.
So wait, are we finding out that basically Gregory of Monmouth is just like an old school version of Disney where they just take old stories and just rebrand them into their own? Okay.
Totally.
Okay.
This another guy was a 6th century bard and druid whose poetic and prophetic traits mirror Merlin's. Saint Martin of Tours. Some scholars think Merlin to this saint, who lived as a hermit and was said to possess superpowers like raising the dead and controlling fire. And one of my favorite stories is and I read this actually in this book called The 21 Lessons of Merlin, which is really good if you're into that kind of stuff. It's like the retelling of the story of him tutoring a young King Arthur in the ways of wizardry, but it's more from like a druidic kind of perspective written, and it has a lot more to do with the magic. And even after every chapter, they kind of break down like the magical spell that was taught in each chapter. It's a pretty good book if you're into that kind of stuff. But in it talked about, this is where I first learned the theory or the myth that Merlin, because some of the mythology of Stonehenge was that Merlin built it, with the Druids or whatever. But in this theory, and this is what ties this into Ireland, is that he actually stole the monument from Ireland. So this monument was really old, and he stole it and because supposedly what I read in the one book is that he was trying to hide it because it had such magical powers. It was kind of like some kind of portal, and he wanted to hide it from the evil forces. So he had giants transported to England, and that's how it ended up there. Now, the interesting thing is that they've shown that some of the stone in actual archaeology, I believe, comes from like Scotland. This is like the new evidence has just been found, and they're trying to figure out, exactly how they would have gotten these stones over from Scotland to England. But so there is a pretty good article, if you want to read, on irishmyths.com about Merlin and all the different influences, right? But before we get back to that, let's take a quick call because we won't have too much time. We have Paul in Seattle. What's going on, Paul?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
So I was just, So Paul kind of made a joke there about, so this is Jeffrey was he recasting, like Disney recasting old stories. Okay, so that's what all old ancient writing story was.
Yeah.
Shakespeare didn't write any original plays. They were all old folk tales that he recast under his poetry. And in fact, in ancient times, being original was just like, huh? What are you doing? It was far more respected to take something that had already been done and try to improve it. And for instance, Virgil, wrote the Aeneid, which was a retelling of the Iliad, the Homer's Iliad, and it was Virgil's was supposed, that was the ultimate. He outdid Homer, so it was like being original was not a thing. Then it was like you're just, who do you think you are? What are you making something up for? Why are you doing this? This is stupid. It was like today, and like telling stories was. Or even recounting something in ancient times, and this is, I'm thinking of things like the Gospels. It wasn't thought that you were supposed to get the facts exactly right. That wasn't the important point. That's like the New York Times. It's not like modern journalism. It was just get the idea across. So, I mean, the idea of a lot of, in particular, for instance, the Gospel of John, some of what he talks about is not, most scholars agree, not factually correct. It was just the idea. It was not what did Jesus really do. It was like, what kind of guy was he? So like walking on water was not so much, he really did not. He was that kind of guy. It was like, he would do this, and people, they don't go, he really did? No, they're going, oh, okay, yeah.
Right, it was all metaphorical. Yeah. Well,
exactly.
And to your point, too, tying in the Bible and rewriting of stories, I mean, it's, it's like how most of the origin stories in there are older myths from Mesopotamia and Babylon and Sumeria, like the Epic of Gilgamesh became Noah's Ark, and, you're right. Yeah, I didn't even think about that, too, how Imagine back then, if you're trying to write something, wait, you're not telling the stories of old? Like, who do you
I would think though too, like stories were so like kind of fine tuned anyway, where it's like tell that one again. I like that one.
Yeah,
and it's like all right, maybe put like a little different sort of
twist.
flourish on it or something, and or it's just
Well, and that's because you think of it again, and like when you're kids, you keep reprocessing it, and like that's what's called literary criticism in the Bible, is that one of the literary themes is women at wells, which is kind of like I walked into a bar. Anyway, so Jesus in John chapter 4, he meets a Samaritan woman at a well. Well, this just goes back to, everybody who ever got married in the Bible, they met her at a well, right? Well, we just happened to run into her at the well. It's like Isaac met his wife at the well. There's just so many literary forms that come out. And, it's just retelling. Did it really that way? Probably not. But that's, yeah. Exactly.
All right. I like it. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, take care, guys.
All right, have a good one. Yeah, exactly. That's like the the Legend of Zorro.
Yeah,
retold the story of William Lamport.
I was just thinking too about, like you said, like wasn't the name of the the one wizard or whatever, like Merlin's adversary was like taken directly and used later, like from the original story or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know, just kind of like that idea where.
Take little bits.
Yeah, little bits, little pieces. Didn't even get creative with changing the names, Yeah.
Well, for certain things, you probably, and to kind of like Paul's point was saying, you wanted to leave in certain
like the
historical
tie-ins,
accuracies, and similar to bring up the Bible again, but similar thing in the Bible where you have like a lot of made up stuff and kind of magical things, but then also like real battles.
The
that
Bible
happened
didn't brand it right. They should have anchored it in reality. That was the Sorry, going on a tangent here.
Yeah. Now I don't know if Merlin ever read the Bible. No. But there was the other tie-in to Ireland is that the theory that it was there's from kind of an Irish or a famous story from Irish mythology, and it was basically based on the kind of the man flees war, goes crazy in the forest. It's like an age-old Celtic folklore motif.
Okay,
right. So this occurred over and over again, and one of the other ones was the Gaelic tradition with Buil Shoibin, which I know I'm totally butchering the name. It's probably like Siobhan
like
or something. It's like Siobhan, right? But it's like Siobhan, you would probably pronounce. So it's like probably Shoivna.
I don't know.
The Madness of Sweeney or the Frenzy of Sweeney was a very similar story, an Irish myth to Merlin. So there's tons of them. There's, according to Annales Cambria, in 573, Mirrodin went mad after participating in the Battle of Ardiford. As we mentioned, he ran off into Scotland's Caledonian Forest. And so that's where kind of that part comes from. Nikola Tolstoy.
I think anyone would go crazy if they lived in a Scottish forest.
You never know. Depends what kind of mushrooms are growing.
After a while, you don't even need chemical or natural enhancement. I don't know.
But Tolstoy acknowledges the shared backstory between Mirrodin and Irish mythology's Mad Sweeney. What's more, he doesn't view the Sweeney parallel as an encroachment upon or somehow a diminishment of Mirrodin's status. Instead, he sees it as evidence that Mirrodin was a druid, like Merlin, perhaps among one of the last of them who shared a Celtic religion and culture with Irish druids, the latter of whom made regular voyages to ancient Britain. So there's a bunch of other ones too. I kind of skipped ahead because we were talking about other stuff. But
went on a big tangent there. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. So I'm trying to find what was the other tie-in to. Okay, well here's another quote from Mr. Tolstoy. So Merlin was indeed an historical figure living in what are now the lowlands of Scotland at the end of the 6th century A.D. He was an authentic prophet, most likely a druid surviving in a pagan enclave of the north. Much of the early poetry attributed to him in Welsh manuscripts is drawn, it seems most likely, from an earlier body of authentic prophetic verse uttered by Merlin himself. And yeah, I wanted to, we're kind of running out of time. I did want to get more into the Ambrose character, this Roman soldier dude, but we are out of time, my friends. I want to thank you all for listening. We'll be back again next Saturday and every Saturday, 6 to 7 p.m. right here on WCPT 820 Think Theory Radio. Aaron Go Bra, my friends.
Chicago, on March 17th, we choose our next voice in Congress. LaShawn Ford's record, disqualifying. LaShawn Ford was indicted and convicted by President Obama's Justice Department for tax fraud. And that's just the start. While we were struggling, LaShawn Ford was getting rich in real estate, ripping off working people and evicting families in need. Then Ford voted to raise our taxes by 32%, one of the biggest tax hikes in Illinois history. All while skipping out on paying his own taxes and voting to give himself multiple raises. LaShawn Ford sticks us with higher taxes while he gets a deal. We can't afford another self-dealing career politician in office. LaShawn Ford is not who we need in Congress. Paid for by Fair Shake and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Fair Shake is responsible for the content of this advertising. www.fairShakePack.com.
You're listening to WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk station, where facts matter and truth always wins. Stay informed, stay